What's up, my dudes? Major update, MX vs. ATV Encore, track editor, and workshop support. So, this might be a little confusing to some of you guys right here. Like, why in the hell is MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore, of all the games, getting a track editor? Little weird. There's a lot of speculation going on here with some people are thinking they're kind of doing this to, like, test the track editor in MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore to then maybe we might get it in MX vs. ATV All Out or whatever the next MX vs. ATV game is going to be. So that's pretty much, you know, a lot of people have been speculating that. So this is the official post on it right here on Steam. Obviously, this is PC only, right? And by the looks of this, if you actually look at this image here, this looks very, very similar to the MX vs. ATV Unleashed track editor, right? I'll go to that here in a second, kind of show it to you, but I'll show you that track editor so you'll know what I'm talking about. But it looks almost identical to that. So this is not like an official Supercross game, Monster Energy Supercross game track editor. You know what I mean? It's not like inside the game. It's kind of like a separate software editor, you know, kind of like you're editing with Photoshop looking. It's a little more like that, you know. And it's not really like the Reflex track editor, I don't think, anyways. This is definitely a lot more like, you know, they did that with Unleashed on the PC version. They came out with Unleashed, you know, 100 years ago, and then later on added a track editor support type deal like this for a type deal. What he did said, I love it. He said, oh man, you know your country when you say deal. Holy. Instead of deal, type deal. There you go, boys. Holy. So, yeah, the same difference with MX vs. ATV Unleashed. So what they say here, this was posted on April 26th. Okay, and it says, we just shipped a new update, including a full-featured track editor and workshop support. Let me see if I can talk. The track editor can upload tracks to Steam Workshop, and the game can download those via Steam Workshop. So this looks like this is going to be a little more streamlined, a little more simple to directly download these tracks straight from the Steam Workshop versus having to go to a Reflex Central. You guys know how that is. You know, you gotta freaking pull 3 legs just to even get an account anymore, and then trying to download the track, it's just a mess. So then that's turned into, you know, the whole Dark Slides website and everything. But this looks a little more straightforward, like you can just go straight to the workshop and download it from there and or upload it to there, right? So it seems pretty easy to do all that. But the thing about this whole thing is like, how many people really even play MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore anymore? It's just, you know, it's kind of like they've put it in a older game. They didn't even put it in the most modern MX vs. ATV game, which is All Out, right? They didn't even put it in that game. So definitely would lead you to believe that this is more of a testing to see if they could put this sort of a track editor in either All Out or their newest MX vs. ATV game, because you know good and well THQ Nordic and all them, the fact that they own Milestone now, or Milestone's under the same parent company and all that, you know they're going to start having some kind of a track editor here before too long in one of these MX versus, like, new MX versus ATV games to try to basically stay on the same level as what Milestone is doing. Okay, so this is the MX versus ATV Unleashed track editor that's on the Unleashed Steam version of Unleashed, right? The PC track editor that they added a lot later on, just on the PC version, right? So it seems to me like it's pretty much the exact same editor. I don't actually have MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore on here on Steam, and I'm not going to pay another $30 for that unless this whole custom track thing really pops off. But I think this, like I'm saying, I think this is a pretty short-term based thing to where they're trying to do this to then do it in a future game, right? It doesn't really make sense that they would just do this on MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore and then not use it to do anything else, right? That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense at all. So either way, it's kind of this, you know, not directly top-down editor. You're kind of looking at it from a little bit of a side angle. And you're basically just coming in here with, in which this newer track editor on Supercross Encore might be a little more advanced than this. It definitely could be. But, you know, it's just kind of, this is the kind of editor that you see in a lot of games nowadays. Like you see this in a lot of RTS, you know, real-time strategy game editor, map editors, or Killing Floor map editors, or a lot of these PC-based games run off of this sort of an editor, right? You're coming over here and, like, building your terrain with a certain Photoshop-based tool, right? And that's kind of how you're building up terrain and stuff like that. And I do think there is actually, like, pre-made. And then, obviously, you kind of got your, like, painting, whatever, this kind of your decal system to it, right? Very, very similar to like a StarCraft editor, if you've ever messed around with any of that kind of stuff before. There was a, yeah, you know, you got like custom, and the way this works is it all is kind of set up to where you have all of these like default like skyboxes, default decals, default, you know, painting terrain tools. But you can also import anything you want in here, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, you can import your own skybox, whatever you want that to be. You can import any of your own custom decals, you know? You can really do your own, like, custom stuff with it. And how did I was on that. It's been a minute since I've been on here. I was on the... This is what I was looking for, right? So this is the actual, like, pre-made little... You know, where you can kind of build up corners pretty easily. You can kind of zoom in here a little bit, right? They've got like some jump sections and whatnot, right? So this is similar to, you know, it's kind of building it off of like, sort of building it off of preset sections in ways, right? But then you can also adjust strength, size, so then you're changing width of the track, stuff like that, right? That's kind of cutting down into where I was at. I don't really know this editor like really good, so you kind of got to bear with me because I don't know what the hell I'm doing in this editor. But like, whereas MX Simulator is a little bit different because you're literally going in there with a gradient tool, and there might actually be a way to do that on here as well, but this is a little more like beginner friendly, I would say, than MX Simulators. But even MX Simulator is pretty beginner friendly. You just got to learn how to use it. But MX Simulator, you can do quite a bit more with it than this, right? Because this is like, they even have a spot where you are adjusting... Yeah, like the position of the sun, sun effect, all this crap, color, sun color, right? So you can get these weird freaking Jupiter vibes going on, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you can still do a lot with this kind of an editor, but just wanted to get in here and show this is about what it looked like the editor was going to be. It's probably a little more advanced if it's in a newer game like MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore, but... somewhere around the same sort of idea, you know, the same sort of ballpark type editor. Dang, that water looks sick with that orange sky. So yeah, just want to come here and kind of show that a little bit, just for the heck of it. Just kind of come in here and get a little bit of content going on here. So yeah, cool that they're adding that into MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore. How many people is really going to take advantage of that? I don't know. Not a whole lot of people really play that game anymore. Like, if they're going to play a newer MX vs. ATV game, they'll go play MX vs. ATV All Out, right? And if they're going to play an older MX vs. not even older, but any other MX vs. ATV game other than All Out, they would just go play Reflex, and it's already got a track editor on it, right? So, kind of gets into that a little bit. Dang, you can almost make like a Leaf leaf on the ground vibe with that. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Look at that, dude. Wow. That's bizarre doing that with, like, dirt. You know what I mean? You can literally kind of create, like, a little leaf. A little smaller, I would think. You can literally create... Oh, that was strength. My bad. You can literally create, like, a leaf vibe here. Holy, that's crazy. You know, these are the little things you do with them bigger... Like, this is what they're doing to create those crazy cool biomes and off-tracks and stuff that we see in these MX versus ATV games. You know, they're doing little tricks like that. It's funny when I stumble upon tricks like that to do, and I don't even realize what I'm doing, you know. You can almost add that in as well. That's really cool. Oh, and then there's also the whole object side as well. So you've got, like, you know, preset rocks and meteors, and I don't know why it's not letting me select that. Come on now. What am I actually doing here wrong? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's got like these preset rocks, right? Meteor. That's actually really cool. That is really cool. But you can also import your own stuff too, if I'm not mistaken, right? You would just have to figure out where to put it, import your own 3D objects and stuff like that. I do believe that you can actually do that, so that's cool. There's all kinds of stuff in here. So it's kind of the same deal, I feel like, with this new dinosaur. What the Holy, what? There's dinosaurs in here. What is this? Oh my God. Really creating a Jurassic Park track like that one dude did on Reflex. Raptors. This is crazy. Like, why is this even in here? This is so bizarre. But either way, you know, it kind of becomes an endless, you can make anything you want to. So I'm sure on this newer Supercross Encore track editor, I'm not going to say it's got dinosaurs in it, but it's probably got some different, like, preset, pre-made objects, like most of your standard rocks and crap like that, you know, to make your standard design tracks. We got this little funky farm going on here, dog. You know, so there's probably a lot of you know, it gives you just enough to make like your normal stuff. That's what I've kind of learned with what this track editor is. Gives you just enough like decals and objects to make normal motocross designs, and some you can get a little bit interesting with like kind of how I'm doing here and making some space vibe stuff or whatever. So I kind of think that's going to be the same way with whatever the new track editor is that they put in the newer MX vs. ATV game. If they're going to do that, I'm not really sure if they're going to do that, but you would be led to believe they would do that eventually if they're already putting this in Encore. You know, it just kind of gives you that feeling like they're trying to figure out how they're going to do that in the next MX vs. ATV game, right? Which we all know is in development, right? So be interesting to see how if it's like this kind of a track editor or if it's like inside the game, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what they kind of go with all that. But either way, we'll let you guys know there is a track editor on MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore. Probably take you a little while to learn how to do everything in it, but like I say, this is the Unleashed editor you're looking at, but it's similar to the Encore editor. So either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Shout out to them. I mean, this is cool. Definitely cool to see this. It's just going to be interesting to see how this all develops. It's going to be, I'm not really going to get into the MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore editor just because it's an older game. It's not really like a favorite, I don't feel. You know what I mean? Whereas like Unleashed is a favorite. Reflex is a favorite. MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore, not really a favorite, you know? So, like, if I'm going to play an MX vs. ATV game on custom tracks or anything like that, I'm either going to do it on Reflex or I'm going to do it on Unleashed. I'm not going to do it on some newer, unless it's like a new MX vs. ATV game, right? So that's kind of just the way I am with it, but either way, we'll see what they do with it, boys. Later, dudes.